Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala syarafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, we are continuing our life coach training program, and we are moving now to the fourth module. We have covered motivation, we have covered coaching, we have covered mentoring. Now we are going on to the counseling module, that is PI-CBT. And for PI-CBT, earlier on, based on our book Positive Islamic Psychology, we have already done more than 120 videos, which I'll review just generally, but you can go back to the very detailed video. There's more than 120 videos on counseling, so it's very in-depth, inshallah. If some of you in the future would like to work with us, you can then develop a textbook based on this video, plus new material that psychology research that we are working on. Okay, so as I mentioned to you that the CBT model is secular, atheistic model, but now they are accepting mindfulness. Alright, from the Islamic perspective, our ilmun nafs, or our nature of human self, is spiritual first, and we have from the spiritual realm the functional domains that is intangible, that is the roh, the qalb, the akal, and then the jasad, the physical body that is we are infused with as we exist on this earth. And I have explained to you how the interaction between the roh, qalb, akal and jasad, and how this physical body is interacting with all the other three domains to give us a holistic integration and to become a holistic integrated self that is balanced, that is psychologically good, happy, fulfilling, achieving and receiving the mercy, the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of peace, tranquility, happiness and success in this world and the hereafter. So when we mention this, we have in our Positive Islamic Psychology, this is our model. So I want to explain to you, recap this model because it is very important for you to understand this model. This model encapsulates all the four realms of existence. That means our human self, this is like this you, every human being. Our human self, we exist in the physical existence or physical plane or domain, and the spiritual domain. So here this is a dotted line. So at the physical plane we have our body, but our integrated self will include the spirit, the heart and the mind. That means the roh, the qalb and the akal. So we have this integrated self, and all experiential things that happen to us from the realm of our existence, from the Islamic perspective, from the realms of the roh, the pre-existence at the realm of the spirit, that is in the realm of when we acknowledge and have a covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until we die. Alright, that is affecting our spirit, our heart and our mind, interacting with the body. The total input of all action, thoughts, behaviors and so on is called total past learning history, TPLH. So you must understand the terms TPLH. T is total, P is past learning. Whatever learning experience, every action is a learning experience. For example, if I hold this is a learning experience. If I press this button, it's a learning experience. So I'm learning something. So every action is a learning experience. So the total experiences, whether good or bad, this is mentioned in our book, will then affect you. The influences also come from many realms. That means you must understand, at the higher realm, we did not explain here, but I'm giving to you the three environmental sources, because at the higher realm there is a separate discussion, which inshallah we'll discuss with you further. We're at the realm of the influences at the spiritual, heart and mind level. There are external influences beyond us. That means we are integrating with other spiritual entities, other mental entities, and our hearts have vibrational energies that is interacting at a higher level than the physical level. But we have to start with the physical level, because we are going to define insofar as how we exist on this earth. So in our model, if we take the physical environment, the three physical environment that's affecting us, alright, the spiritual environment I'll explain to you later, but let's go on this. All of us, our total past learning history is colored by what? By our perception. Alright, our perception then will create our total past learning history, and our total past learning history at each instant will then affect our behavior, whether positive or negative. So if we take our total past learning history, there's a feedback loop in terms of our inner speech. But the input, direct input is, number one is physical environment. What is physical environment? We know we are a physical being. Now we're talking about the physical body. So our physical body is affected by our physical existence. So what are the physical existence? Very basic. Our food, our clothing, our shelter, the nutritional level, and so on. So all these are the physical aspect. Whether we live in a slum will affect our behavior, because if you're living in a slum, you end up joining gangs, and then you becoming drug pushers, which is happening all over the world in many slum areas because of the need to fight and survival mode and so on. So there's not a balance and physical environment. The same thing, our clothing and our shelter and the other. But the most important thing is at the physical realm, this physical environment is nutrition. Many studies now have shown that nutrition plays a big role in terms of affecting our total past learning history in terms of physical body. Not only our physical body not only consists of all our cells in our body, our heart, our lungs, our gastrointestinal, our brain, and so all is affected by nutrition. So we must have nutritious food, natural nutritious food. But in the 21st century, all of us are moving towards junk food, fast food, chemically laden food, pesticide, herbicide, and we are committing suicide. So all this side, we are committing suicide because we are feeding ourselves, our children, our civilization, our society with junk food, sugar laden, tons and tons and tons of sugar that created hyperactivity, very hyper children, and then there's upstream when they take all those drinks, and then they go to depression. So anxiety, depression are a byproduct of the nutritional dichotomy that we are facing now. We are killing ourselves with all the junk food, the fast food, the processed food. And if we want to solve the problem of psychology for humanity, including the Muslims, we got to get rid of junk food and fast food. That means no more of these creepy things, no more of these fuzzy drinks, which are all sugar laden and crap with a lot of additives, which cause cancer, which cause brain and neurological abnormalities. So if we talk about children now having ADHD, children now having bipolar syndrome, children now become schizo, why? The first fundamental physical and environment that we have to tackle is how are we going to lead life in the 21st century. So long as we don't resolve that issue, we cannot do anything, because not only that we have in our, for example, brain, we have brain. People used to talk about brain only here. No, we have the brain. Yes, we have the brain in our heads, more than 100 billion neurons, but we have brain in our heart. Now they have neurons that is connected to the brain, neurons from our heart. So the heart has a brain, has a function, and it acts independently and even command the neurons in our skull. Then they discovered we have brain in our guts. So they have these guts feelings, right? You feel uneasy because of your guts. Yes, there are neurons in your guts. So the guts, heart, brain interaction is all dependent on how you lead life in terms of the experience that you have in life. But most important is what you feed into your guts. What you take and put into your guts, the microbacterial flora. A lot of time they find that people with autism, actually the microbacterial flora is actually abnormal. So what they do, they take fecal transplant. That means children with autism, they take the feces of a healthy, normal child, and they do a fecal transplant through the large intestine by pumping the shit. Actually, I do not use the shit, but the fetus after they clean it. And then they repopulate the guts with a balanced microbioflora. The autism is removed together with nutrition. That means omega-3, virgin coconut oil, B complex vitamins, and so on. So they have supplemented. And this abnormal so-called autism child that has no hope is now a normal child. Why? The brain of the guts has been destroyed. Now we are having the brains of the heart is being destroyed, and the brain of the head is being destroyed. Why? This physical input that is affecting our perception is abnormal. So you have a physical abnormalities, you will have a abnormal perception, then your total past Islamic history will be abnormal, and you would be an abnormal, psychologically imbalanced human being. Your TPLH will be abnormal. Then you have all the DSM-5 list of psychological challenges, which we now see getting out of control. So this civilization is the civilization with the greatest level of, I will not use the word, but then it is used by other people, the greatest level of insanity. We are becoming an insane civilization because of the input that we do from the physical environment. Then we have a perception that is being tackled by our social environment. Again, this is being destroyed. The whole civilizational approach from a support system between a family system now is becoming a nuclear family type. Father, mother, child, or father, mother, no child. But in the past we have uncle, auntie, grandfather, grandmother, all living together, helping one another, and we have an integrated societal interpersonal relationship. And then internally, our internal dialogue also will be affected. We have our intrapersonal environment. So we have interpersonal social environment, and we have an intra, within the environment, within our physical self, with the multiple intelligences and the senses that Allah has given us, the 5 senses, and for Muslims, we have the 6 and 7 senses. This affects our perception. So if this is destroyed, then our perception will be abnormal. We have an abnormal total past learning history. Then Allah has given us one difference, that is inner speech. This is where Beck says this is automatic thoughts, and 90% of the thoughts, automatic thoughts, more than 50 to 70,000 automatic thoughts, they are negative. Yes, we agree, but we can groom that. We call this inner speech in our model, because from the Islamic perspective, when God created us, He gave us free will. When He gave us free will, He gave us the knowledge of existence, of how to live on this earth. And this inner speech can be very, very positive. So we can have a very strong development in terms of developing our personality based on a very strong inner speech. It can override the social dichotomy and the disabilities at the social level and at the physical level. And our perception, the inner speech is so powerful that when we understand the whole nature of Islamic psychology, this perception, if it is negative at the physical environment, negative at the social environment, but positive at the inner speech, we can become a positive total past learning history, and we can then generate positive behavior and positive achievers to become a positive person in this world. So you can see this model is very simple, but it gives you the whole idea of how we want to approach. For example, if you want to counsel somebody, so you counsel them at the various level, at the physical level, the social level, and how you can then use inner speech. We have in our book ISDT, inner speech dialogue technique, which we teach you, and it's a practical, and you can apply it for yourself, for your own self transformation, for your own self to bend reality. You use our ISDT. Whatever that you desire, whatever you want from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you use your inner speech dialogue technique, and you can change. So if you are in trouble, go back to Allah, but also apply this ISDT for you to achieve. You have to pass your exams, you have to find a spouse, you want whatever that you want. It is like a dua, or it is like a repetition of your inner self, connecting yourself to the higher realm. That inshallah, when we have the time, we'll explain to you. So this is our model, positive Islamic psychology model. This is the basis of our PICBT, positive Islamic cognitive behavior therapy. So once you understand this, then I will go into the detail of how we can help you counsel. We do not want to use the patients because we are not psychiatrists, but we are talking about counseling, helping them to become a good person, receiving the grace and the mercy of Allah, and all of us and all of them having the joy of leading a good, balanced life, blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, always striving to make ourselves good as His Khalifa on this earth, striving to make ourselves good, helping others to be good, and making the world good, inshallah.